wouldn't say that my PC gave up the ghost, but it's not exactly healthy either.
Man, I need a new computer.
It's a hodgepodge mix of customer returns, parts bin stuff, and failed experiments. Now don't get me wrong, I am very grateful to own a computer. It's just that this one is getting in the way of my work now with all the crashing it's been doing. Now when it was running, it was a great little PC for my needs. The SSD is 120GB Patriot Pyro SE. Great drive, but it's getting a little bit small for all the production work I've been doing. The GPU is a 260X from SAPPHIRE, which is a great little card. It's last generation, but meets all my gaming needs at 1080p. The only problem is, I'm borrowing this card. Now the processor has really been my bottleneck. It's an old i5 that I bought off of eBay. It's an Ivy Bridge and it's only dual core. With all the rendering and CAD work I've been doing lately, I think it's time I got something a little bit faster. Well, the motherboard. I think this is where all my problems are coming from. It's a customer return, and I'm suspecting that the SATA controller is going bad and causing a lot of my crashes. There's nothing wrong at all with the power supply, but this is actually my test bench power supply, and it belongs on my test bench, not in my computer. And whenever I build a new computer or test one out for a customer, I have to rip the power supply out of my own computer. I had been meaning to build myself a computer for quite some time now. The only problem is I don't really have the money to do it. Luckily, I have some great friends.
My first call is going to be to Ed. Ed works for SAPPHIRE. I'm not exactly sure what his job title is, and I don't even think he knows. But I do know that he loves gaming and totally wears it on his sleeve. Edward is one of the most sincere human beings I've ever met, and his passion for the gaming community is second to none. I've always had a great time hanging out with him on Skype or being his lance mate in MechWarrior.
You gonna back me up or what, Ed?
I always know I can count on Ed for a favor, especially after that game. My second call is definitely going to be to Scott from Patriot. Scott is one of my very best friends, and he's always been 100% supportive of my crazy passion for modding and design. Scott working for Patriot was a happy coincidence. I've been buying memory from them for years because of their awesome dedication to customer support. They really do care because they're gamers themselves. Patriot's offered me some amazing contract design work on some of their products before, and it excites me to think I could have worked on some of the heat shields for the memory I'll be using for this build. I think my favors might run out there, so for the other parts I had to rely on hard work. I spent a week installing some Paladin streaming equipment for a laser tag arena. This equipment allows people to bring in wireless cameras into a broadcast production environment. You get most of the power of a satellite truck, but at a fraction of the cost. What was cool about this particular gig is that the Seahawks were there one of the nights I was working. I got to meet some of my favorite players, and even better, they got to play on my S4 Mini ITX system. So with my money in hand, and I mean all of my money, I'll be buying the rest of the parts I need for this build. I don't have a lot of requirements for this project, but what I do have, I'm pretty strict about. Number one, it needs to fit in my computer cubby, which is only 11 by 11 by to the ceiling inches. Secondly, I like the ports to be on top. That's actually just really convenient for everyday using the system. Thirdly, I'd like an open design so I can get the parts real simple because I'm always swapping out parts to test them. I work on my computer a lot. Next, I'd like it to be unique because if I'm going to spend the time building a mod, I want it to look nice. And finally, I need it to be faster and less crashy. A faster, less crashy computer. I guess I do have a lot of requirements. Okay, so I have my project requirements in my head, and I also have my parts on order. It's time to work on the design. I always start my design in SketchUp. SketchUp is cool because it's super easy to work with. Also, it's free. And if my parts are just 2D, I can actually export them to DXF, which means that a laser cutter or a water jet platform, or really any CNC can cut them out. Well, knock on wood, but I don't think I have to do much work because I already have a great idea in my head. In a few hours, I should have a finalized design. Well, it is day 2 of this project, and I'm still in the design phase, which is not where I want to be because I already had a design to start with, and that was what's going to make this project a lot simpler. But I've been second guessing myself for 2 days straight, and I was up till 3 in the morning yesterday working on a whole new design, and I hate it and trashed it. I've been working on this one today, and I hate it too. I'm about ready to trash it. And to top it all off, my mouse is going out. I don't know if it's the receiver or the laser in it, but I need a new mouse, and I just don't have time for this. We're gonna get it done, just it's going a lot slower than I was hoping. I don't think I take it very well when I run out of ideas. where I have writer's block, modder's block. It's not that I'm not grateful. I am grateful. It's just that I really want to do a good job and I'm feeling the pressure. I'm just frustrated right now. My design's just not there yet. It's terrible. I just want to do a good job. Sometimes it helps just to step back and take a break. And sometimes a break tastes like a peanut butter jelly and Cheez-It sandwich. Well, what can I say? I have weird tastes. What? Well, I finally finished with my design, and I'm really happy with it. Though I don't know if I'm really happy with it because I'm done or because I actually like it. Actually, I do think it's unique. Like my other projects, it's not about taking a box and making the box pretty, but it's about doing something wild and crazy and something that's not been done before. It's an arrangement of hardware more than it is about a case, right? Some of the things I like about the design, the motherboard is super easy to take out. There's its own motherboard tray that I can remove, and to disconnect everything is super easy too, because X99, all I gotta do, there's 4 thumb screws on that socket and that water block will take right off. The graphics card isn't attached either. It's gonna use a PCIe ribbon. So there's just a bunch of stuff that I did that I'm really happy. I think it met my design marks. There were some challenges in the design. For one, I need to model out the liquid cooling loop because there's so many tight spaces that I knew if I didn't actually model out and measure those bins, I could run into a situation where the tubing would actually bend in on itself and that would be no good. How does it look? You know, to me it works. It's unique. I try to make it not boring from different angles. Will people like it? I have no idea. I'm gonna up to them. I don't build these things to make other people like them, you know? I do it because I like them. All right, so the next step is gonna be to take my SketchUp model and put it into CAD. In order for me to cut out my flat pattern, I'm gonna need to de-bendify it. And Inventor has some pretty cool tools that will allow me to do that. So why would I bother to make this part in Inventor when I already had it made in SketchUp? I mean, it's true that I have all the dimensions that I need and I can pull off of my SketchUp model and it's really handy, but the problem is I have no way of actually putting this on a piece of material and then cutting it out. I would have absolutely no idea how to account for the curves and the bends and the folds. So by doing this in Inventor and setting it up properly and using the proper parameters, I can create or click a magic button which smushes it all flat. It is so cool. The CAD program also does some pretty cool things like for hole alignment. In SketchUp, I'd actually have to plot out the origin for every single one of the holes that I want to punch out and then draw the diameter based off of a radius. And in Inventor, all I gotta do is define a point. Then I can just go to a punch a hole menu. I can say, what drill bit do I want this to be for? Do I want it countersunk? Do I want them in an array? That way, if I have a bunch of different holes, like in a certain pattern for a bunch of drives, I just type in the numbers that I want and poof, it does it. It's pretty cool. So hopefully the computer's not gonna lie to me and it's all gonna go together. I just need to figure out how to put it together because it's gonna be a challenge. I think I can do almost everything in-house, but there's a couple things I'm gonna need to outsource because there's no way my shop can handle it. Well, sometimes things just don't go as planned. At least I got it done. I went through iteration after iteration and I finally found something that met all my project requirements, and I'm not sure how I got there, but I did and I'm excited to build it. I can tell you one thing, I'm never gonna jinx myself again. I just did it again. Well, I'm off to start getting hardware.